Okay, let's see. Got Yeti Nano on. Watch a TikTok. Let me get my X account working. And open YouTube. Okay, sound is good. Whoa. Okay. Okay, your channel. And where's the X here? Okay. Can see your chat here. Also on X. And then in Restream, I've got my chat. Okay, great. Everything's working. Okay, so big news today. The carnivore diet went national mainstream. RFK Jr., the new Health and Human Services Secretary, has recommended the carnivore diet to Governor Morrisey in West Virginia. I just saw like a minute of this clip, and let's watch it in a bit. And he basically says, like, I'm going to put him on a carnivore diet, like, in front of a bunch of people here. So let's see here. Media and video. Where's YouTube? Okay, here we are.
Welcome to raise your hand if you want Governor Morrisey to.
Hear it live. Let me check this. Okay, great. You can hear it. Awesome. Okay, cool. So
do a public weigh-in once a month. trying to end pollution and give people a chance to live healthier lives. I want to thank Governor Morrisey for his visionary leadership. I got to know Governor Morrisey early in the transition. We were both down in Palm Beach working on the transition in Mar-a-Lago. And we were both invited to stay during that time at Dr. Oz's house. And I got to know, I said to Dr. Morrisey, or Governor Morrisey, the first time I saw him, I said, "You look like you ate Governor Morrisey." And
ate Governor Morrisey?
And there was a lot of talk about getting healthy again, and I'm very happy that he's invited me to be his personal trainer. And I am going to put him on a really rigorous regimen. And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet.
There it is.
We're going to make him raise your hand if you want Governor Morrisey to do a public weigh-in once a month. And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state and do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him. You're welcome, Denise.
We a little more than I bargained for.
He left me an open door. So anyway, we have a public health crisis in this country, and unfortunately, West Virginia is leading the way. It's the highest obesity rate of any state in our country. This year, you pulled ahead of Mississippi. It has the highest rate of chronic disease in the country. And so I'm very, very grateful to Governor Morrisey for his visionary leadership in getting West Virginia to lead the way in transitioning off of processed foods. When my uncle was president, 3% of Americans had chronic disease. We spent zero on chronic disease in this country, zero. There was no medications for it. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion
1.3 trillion
on chronic disease every year. It's about 90% of our healthcare budget. And for most of my life, the Republicans and Democrats have been fighting about a healthcare plan, about treatment, really a sick care plan, about how to treat all this illness. Should it be Obamacare, the affordable health plan? Should it be public-private partnerships? Should it be a single payer? These are what the big battles that you read about on Capitol Hill. The real battle is that we're getting sicker and sicker every year. And it's really just a debate about who's going to pay the treatment. Nobody has been focused on how do we get ourselves less sick.
Right.
And it's like moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. No matter what you do, our country is going to go bankrupt. It's now, when I was a kid, diabetes rates in children were almost zero. Juvenile diabetes, a typical pediatrician would see one case of diabetes in his lifetime over a 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walk through his office door is pre-diabetic or diabetic. 38% of teens are now diabetic, 50% of adults. A few years ago, it's not a mystery about where this is coming from. 20 years ago, there was no diabetes in China. Today, 50% of the population is diabetic. Why is that? They built 20,000 fast food joints in China and started selling American processed food. And it is costing us, we are now paying more just for diabetes, mitochondrial dysfunction, than we are for our military. And, financially, it is bankrupting our country. We're now spending more to service our debt, and the biggest piece of that debt is coming from healthcare.
Jeez.
We're now paying more to service it than we are for our
vicious
military
cycle
budget.
over and over.
Within about 10 years, if we continue on this trajectory, 50 cents out of every tax dollar that you pay to the federal government is going to go to servicing the debt. Within 15 years, 100%. It's not sustainable. It's existential. If you love our country, you got to take care of yourselves. President Trump said that he wants to make America healthy again, but he wants to make it strong again. We cannot have a strong country if we have sick citizens. President Trump says that he wants to restore the American dream. But a person who is healthy has 1,000 dreams. A person who is sick has only one. And there is 60% of our country now that has only one dream, which is to get better. And we need to give them a pathway to doing that. And the pathway is through food. Food is medicine. It treats us in different ways.
Food is the carnivore
diet. It treats our health. It treats our mental health. There was a recent study that showed that
I can go back. You want to see it?
When they switched the diet in prisons, that violence went down to a whole food diet. That violence went down by about 70%.
So we got to 9. Let's do 10 minutes.
When they switched the diet in juvenile detention centers,
4:30 in this video.
the whole food diet, violence went down 100%. There's a scientist.
All right, we can go back and watch that if anyone wants to. But so he's basically talking about Morrisey here.
I'm going to put him on a really rigorous regimen.
Really rigorous regimen.
And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet.
We're going to put him on a carnivore diet. Everyone
We're
laughs.
going to make him raise your hand if you want Governor Morrisey to do a public weigh-in once a month.
Public weigh-out once a month.
And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state and do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him.
Celebration, public weigh-in. Dude, I didn't know it was a joke either. So Sean Baker just posted it and I retweeted it, and then I'm like, what is it? Like in the era of AI, like this is a meme I would have made because I was literally making like the same stuff. I was making like AI like joke articles of the carnivore diet being implemented by the troops. So so much misinformation for the last part. Yeah. Here, hold on. I can show some of these awesome comments. The last style bender here. Yeah, no, it's not AI. I was like, I'm gonna read this whole thing, make sure. Okay, so I am going to show you where this came from. Okay, so here's the other tab. And yes, you can see this is Real Clear Politics, March 28th, 2025, posted by Tim Haynes. Health and Human Services Secretary, let's get rid of this ad, challenged West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey to lose 30 pounds and face a monthly public weigh-in during an announcement regarding food dyes and proposed changes to SNAP. He called out West Virginia for passing
Mississippi a lot of my career
as the fattest state in the union and said they could lead the way on transitioning off of processed food. So yeah, you can see the transcript here. And right here we have the carnivore diet. So pretty amazing. In fact, I take a lot of screenshots and I have a button on my mouse that just does it instead of the keyboard. Okay, great. So then we've heard the rest of this before. So let's go over some other content I've created in the recent days. Here is a funny one. Share this tab instead. So Stylebender says, I think the Maha movement is the only part of the Trump movement that is undeniably positive. You know what? I totally agree with that. I am not really a Trump supporter at all, but this is at least opening my mind about him a bit. Whether or not he really just won because Kennedy joined and like his health topic was a bigger issue than we kind of thought. But it's really, really positive. So here's an AI meme I made. What you've probably seen lots of the anime things going around, and I was like, oh man, I gotta start making these. So I put in an image. Yeah. All right, I'm swapping all around here, but it's gonna be worth it. All right, so this is an image from 1796. This is one of like the Dr. Rollo uses of carnivore diet. Yeah, you're not a Trump guy at all. The food issue is really important. Yeah, same. I mean, like I could kind of see that Kennedy was focused on chronic disease and wasn't gonna like come in and like do a bunch of miserable things to vaccines and stuff. So I was like kind of positive about it, but I feel like a lot of the other liberals were like, "Oh, that's the only thing we should care about," and like the rest, everything else he thinks about is like wrong. It's like, well, isn't Kennedy like kind of a Democrat and like comes from that whole family and everything? So, but anyway, you can see these papers here that I'm scrolling through, and you might not be able to read it right away because a lot of the S's have been turned into F's. So this is a old way they made texts in like the late 1700s and early 1800s. So when I added these, I literally copied this out into like documents and used like all these programs to help me like format and stuff. But at some point, I had to like figure out how to turn all those F's into S's so that you could read it in online and on nutrition. So, but I basically took one of these screenshots and I was like, this is like the key part of the carnivore diet. I'm trying to find the right page, but I'm talking too much. Like here, oh yeah, okay. So he's about to do it. All right, yeah. So his diet to consist principally of animal food for breakfast, a pint and a half of milk mixed with half a pint of lime water, bread and butter at noon, plain pudding made of blood and suet only at dinner, game and old meats which have long been kept, and as far as the stomach may bear, fat and rancid old meats as pork, taking care always to eat in moderation for supper, the same as breakfast. No, dude, this is not Osler textbook. This is earlier. Osler was 1901. This is 1796. It's a full 100 years before Osler. And Rollo then wrote like a longer book in like 1812, and he combines like all the different anecdotes that other doctors had sent him because they were like, "Whoa, oh, do you want to see my shirt?" So this is my one of my new Etsy shirts. I have 30 Etsy shirts now, which I can go through later, but it basically just says Meatrition facts. So anyway, I took a screenshot of this. I put it in AI and said, make me like a storyboard. So let's go back to this tab here. And we've got the saccharine process must be destroyed. Animal food, old meats, blood pudding, rancid fat. This is like a menu to eat. Day 1, the metabolic fire is cool. Animal food, old meats, blood pudding, rancid fat. This guy's like, I don't want it. New and the old meats bring new life. Assimilation restored from withering flesh to warrior of fat and flame. I mean, this is kind of like a little too far, but it's pretty funny. Name of the author um of this, I can get you like the um, here you go, Stylebender. Oh, maybe I'll try on YouTube too. Oh, no, that works. Yeah, so have you been on my database? And you can see this. So I've been having a ton of fun with ChatGPT like the last 2 days because it created a new. Let's see, did this work? Ooh, ooh, that did work. Okay, man, how do you think that looks better than the thumbnail I made? Because I was actually waiting for this to come in, and then I created one in Canva instead. Let's see. I wonder if I can just do a poll. Reactions. Hey, I trust you. You want to be a mod? Add mod. Kaboom. Okay. Let's see. So it's a more captivating overlay. Yeah. I like didn't really make the text big enough. And, um, did it change? It even changed the image I gave it. Look at that. See? Look at that, great. And then it's crazy. It made it point at him, and it basically regenerated all the parts of the thing because the lighting was better. All right, pretty crazy. Oops, I already did it. Um, okay, let's. I want to show you guys this. Okay, so I have been arguing with AI for a long time. It's really fun to do. You like ask it a question. You have to know the topic really well. So let me read this for you. What's the deal with SNAP? What foods does it allow? Original writing, quotes, etc. And I'm asking ChatGPT 01 earlier today. So reasoned for 12 seconds. Below is a brief, plain English overview of SNAP. Can be used to buy most stable groceries. Can't be used to buy alcohol, tobacco, and prepared meals, or non-food items like household supplies and pet food. Okay, so it's human food, most staple groceries, but it's not like addictive drugs or like expensive meals that are out. Okay. So what foods are allowed? Fruits and vegetables, meats, poultry, and fish, dairy, bread and cereals, snack foods, and non-alcoholic beverages, seeds and plants that produce food. Like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. I learned that. But I'm really focused on maybe these two. Here we have Stylebender real fast. Funny thing is, I was working with someone to lose weight on a carnivore diet. His cholesterol dropped, and his doctor told him to stop the diet and add greens due to low cholesterol. His cholesterol dropped? To add greens to increase his cholesterol? What? Okay. So going back to the SNAP topic. So yeah, not allowed. We know all this. Live animals. Households can use SNAP benefits to buy. Yep. Okay, help low-income households afford nutritionally adequate foods. All right. So if you're like me, you probably had a bunch of thoughts there, like how do we get meat to go in? So here and did my base research. I kind of know, I kind of came on some ideas. So, oh, I see. Stahlbender clarifies. I feel like no matter what happened to his blood work, his doctor would find a reason to dissuade him. That's my point. Yep, I totally understand. Um, hey, actually, I shared this link, so I posted it on Twitter, but um, wait, why do I need to update it? Okay. Anyway, so let's run an analysis on what allowed foods provide the best bang for the buck. They get points for having necessary things such as calories, healthy, stable saturated fats, low N6 or omega 6 linoleic acid LA, and arachidonic acid ARA, essential amino proteins through higher diet scores or whatever's best. On the other hand, empty calories like fiber significantly downweigh the results because since it's essentially nothing. Water content can also be considered as it's about 70% of meat but 90% produce. So why is produce always thought about as the most important food in SNAP? That's kind of like one of the key assumptions I want to push back on because think about it. If you get fruits and vegetables at the store that are fresh, they're like heavy, but like all the weight in them is water. And then you're like, okay, well, you need 30 grams of fiber a day to like be healthy, allegedly. Well, now in the carnivore community has proved that's not true. So, okay, so you take away the fiber, you take away the water, and then you have some like a few low bioavailable fruits and or micronutrients, and maybe some fructose or some starch or something like that. So, and then you have all the anti nutrients in vegetables, and then like maybe the pesticides on the fruits and stuff. So it's like, is this really like the high quality calories that we want to be feeding to our low income people? So let's see. So I say we don't require carbohydrates, so they could provide some calories, and then maybe say sugar is absorbed too quickly, so we should penalize that too. And then let's also consider the essential nutrients found in meat compared to almost nothing of importance in plants, produce, and grains when compared on a bang to buck level. So I kind of tell it exactly what I want. I'm hoping that fatty red meat will come out on top of this and show that SNAP benefits should be redirected toward meat benefits, as 100% of the money will be used for real meatrition. And I've been using AI to help me understand my own word that I made up called meatrition. Look, no definition found. If you search it, it goes right to my homepage. Good. But generally, it just means like the ability to survive on an all meat diet or the belief that it's possible, or perhaps the goal that you can thrive on it. But we'll go through that. I have some tabs over here that you can check out. So below is a conceptual back of the envelope style analysis illustrating how one might rank certain SNAP eligible foods in terms of bang for your buck. So high energy density calories per dollar, high quality protein, essential amino acids. These DIAS and PDCAAS are like ways to measure protein. And when you measure them, like the animal protein comes out like above 100, and then like the soy protein gets 100. So you're like, why didn't they just like deprecate the soy and then like make the meat like 100? But anyway, it's weird. So I was aboard a high saturated fat diet because I think the fat is stable and good for burning energy. And then I want a low omega 6 linoleic acid diet. Now I could have said like maybe like also promote higher omega 3 linoleic acid, but that kind of gets confusing. And maybe I'd really just want to say EPA and DHA, which would then kind of target fish. But fish are not like cheap either, so it's like hard to make the case for that. Maybe like canned fish or something. Dense micronutrients, yep, B vitamins, iron, zinc, low sugar, minimal extra water or fiber. So the AI keeps trying to like kind of say the consensus view, which you may view as diluting nutrient content. Well, yeah, that's actually what it's doing. And then it says, disclaimer, this is not official nutrition or medical advice. It is a hypothetical illustration using assumptions that heavily favor animal foods over produce. Mainstream nutritional authorities place high importance on fruits, vegetables, and fiber for various health reasons, which is why SNAP guidance often emphasizes produce. Great. So it's like even pushing back and giving me a little more than I wanted. One, so why produce is often emphasized in SNAP? They supply vitamins, minerals, and fiber. They're associated with healthy dietary patterns for the general population. Okay. Typically associated is like trigger warning for me, perhaps. So we could kind of ignore this. I think I just debunked fiber and minerals and vitamins in some ways. I mean, I'll acknowledge there's definitely some, but like we really need to do a carnivore study where we add these things to a carnivore study and say, like, wow, look at these people getting even healthier when they took a carnivore diet and added like a few plants and fiber. Like, I'm willing to do that study. Like, let's do it. Let's figure it out. But until we do it, like, this is just in the context of like your shitty standard American diet. So, um, got a few more likes on that carnivore tribe. All right, so yeah, and then so if produce have low energy density, which is considered beneficial for weight control, it's like they're literally admitting it's like it doesn't have the calories that people are paying for. So we're literally paying people to eat food that isn't food, that doesn't really help health in any like measurable way, and it replaces like healthier fatty meats that could actually provide your essential stuff and help you do like a low carb diet that's going to reverse chronic disease. All right, so we're going to get through that because it kind of keeps going through it. So boom, now we have a nice table. If you have never used AI, like this is the stuff I like expected to do now, and it's like an amazing way for my own creativity because I love charts and numbers and research and stuff. And like before, you'd have to like go through and like put all this stuff one by one into a spreadsheet, and now you just ask for it. Maybe I'm not happy with these things. I can change it up. I can add new ones. So we got ground beef here, 80% lean, $4 per pound, 1150 kilocalories per pound, 70 grams of protein, notable fats, 40 to 50 grams of fat, mostly saturated and mono, low N6, rich in iron, zinc, B vitamins, and extremely high DIAS protein score. So boom, like this knocks it out of the park. Sounds like beef is going to be like one of our best foods here. Eggs a dozen, 1.5 pounds, $3 a dozen, 860 kilocalories, 72, a little more protein, a little less fat. Oh, actually, maybe 55 grams of total fat. Maybe they like the way of the shells and stuff, like lower it. But balanced with moderate N6. Yeah, each egg actually has 1 gram of LA, linoleic acid. So you probably don't want to eat more than like 5 eggs a day or like a lot of eggs a week. You really don't need much LA. Rich in choline, vitamins, high quality protein, though typically not as calorie dense per dollar as beef. Okay. Peanut butter, 250 per pound, 2,600 kilocalories, 100 grams of protein. Yeah, so peanut butter, it's not going to have any water in it, right? So these, like the ground beef is going to have a lot of water, which is going to reduce like the kcal per volume or weight. So peanut butter is really dense, but 100 grams of protein is just 400 calories, right? So this is still 2,200 calories of fat. And most of that is going to be N6, LA, probably oxidized and stuff. So peanut butter, bad choice. But then bananas, okay, they're cheap, 400 calories, but only 5 grams of protein, negligible fat, mostly water weight. Okay, so we're shipping these things from like across the world to feed people, and we're barely making a dent. Like this isn't helping. These are useless carb calories, starch, no fat. Okay. All right. Well, how about spinach? Oh, wow. That's $4 a pound, the same as ground beef. Okay. And it has 100 kilocalories versus 1150. So you could eat two pounds of ground beef here and be completely full. And if you had 2 pounds of spinach, you'd have 200 kilocalories. Okay. So you're going to need like 20 pounds of spinach, and then you're going to get oxalate overload and probably die. 12 grams of protein. So what if you had tried to do 50? Yeah, it'd be like 4 servings. It's like crazy. So spinach, 90% water, vitamins, minerals, extremely low energy and low protein for the cost. And yes, let's add oxalates if you didn't know about. Potatoes, 80 cents to $1. 400 calories, 10 grams of protein, negligible fat, mostly carbs, modest micronutrients, 80% water. I mean, even as a karma guy, like I could maybe appreciate like basic potatoes like that. They have glycoalkaloids and stuff and problems too. But white rice. Okay, wow, yeah. So white rice dry means it's gonna have way more kcals because there's no water in it, and it's the same price as potatoes. Yeah, and yeah, it has 3 times more protein, but that's because it's all dry. So now let's see. So it makes a hypothetical scoring approach, a nutrient-dense animal product. It has this kind of score, protein quality factor plus calories per dollar, plus saturated mono fat ratio, plus micronutrient density, plus penalties for sugar, fiber, water. So this is the same way, like if you ever read those like healthy index, eating index thing that like they basically try and like peel apart your diet and then say, oh, it meets these categories of like a healthy plant-based diet. And then they say, like, let's just group everyone into these different buckets and then see how healthy they are. And then you can say, like, look, if we like promote this bucket, people will get healthier. And it's like kind of just bad science because like I think there's a lot of bad assumptions in how they make those scores. So I'm just being biased here. I'm using my own nutrition, carnivore diet kind of scores. I'm saying saturated fat is healthy and protein is healthy, and you don't need carbs, and you can penalize like fiber and water and stuff. So what do we get here? So an illustrative fictional scoreboard. It's like AI doesn't want to acknowledge I'm right. So protein quality: ground beef 9, eggs 10, peanut butter 6, potatoes 3. Like this all makes sense. Calories per pound: ground beef, eggs, and peanut butter really high. That peanut butter is all going to be like mostly N6 calories. So sat mono 3, it doesn't get it high like the ground beef 9. See, like I actually say saturated fat and mono is good, and that's like 50 and 45% in ground beef. So micronutrient content 1 through 10. It's all bad science. The whole nutrition science is basically junk science, maybe even pseudoscience. I would call it marketing. um so boom, now we got these scores, and if Tough saw this, they would flip a boat. Sugar, fiber, water penalties. What? So it takes off some for water content in ground beef actually, and I guess in eggs, maybe like the shells or something. Peanut butter gets an N6 penalty. I would actually probably bump this up, so I'd change the algorithm to be like -3 or something. Yeah, the Pure study, the WHI study, framing study all showed no association between saturated fat and CBD. And RCTs and meta-analyses showed no association either. That's very true, Stylebender. I wrote a few pages on saturated fats in my thesis, and I haven't done a real video dedicated to that, but maybe I should just read it one day and get all those words out online. The American College of Cardiology also states that SFA link is bogus. Oh, really? That's interesting. Well, you're a mod now, so if you want to find fun links and stuff, you can toss them in there. That's literally the best part of being a mod on YouTube. And basically, don't worry about any moderation, of removing content until we get a following here. Unless it's obvious spam and I'm busy. So we've got nutrition score. So 33 for ground beef, 29 for eggs, 22 for peanut butter, 11 for potatoes, 9 for bananas, 8 for spinach. Now spinach is the lowest. So it's pretty cool how you can kind of create your own fictional nutrition scores and have AI basically build you a system for it. So then I love being passive aggressive with AI because it basically just adapts to your words. So I said, thank you so much for adding all the unneeded, but here's what authorities say, disclaimers. And it says, you're very welcome. I understand that in this particular conversation, you have a clear view of what you'd like to emphasize, i.e. the value of meat, and the official stance isn't top priority for your analysis. If there's anything else you'd like me to refine or discuss, no disclaimers attached, just let me know. Oh, I didn't know you agreed with the official stance just because it's official. Not necessarily. Preventing the mainstream or official stance doesn't mean I endorse it wholeheartedly. It's simply the commonly referenced viewpoint from large institutions. You asked for analysis focused on meat's nutrient density, and that's what we did. The added context is just to acknowledge what's typically promoted by public health authorities, not to declare that it's the gospel truth. Well, okay. Is an authority more likely to be true just because it's large? Not automatically. Ultimately, the best way to evaluate a claim is to examine the evidence, check for biases, and compare cross-reference multiple sources. Okay, that's good. I agree with that. Do you think the version of SNAP we have today is good enough? Or would my version lead to more meat in the hands of the poor, using it for low-carb diets, leading to metabolic reversals of chronic disease they didn't have money to use drugs on? All right, I make a very long sentence here. But it's really a philosophical and policy question wrapped up together. If the entire SNAP program were revamped to focus exclusively or predominantly on meat and other low-carb animal foods, would that help certain individuals, especially those dealing with obesity, insulin resistance, or type 2 diabetes? Quite possibly, yes. Many people do seem to experience metabolic improvements on lower carb or animal-based diets. Oh, your phone died for a second? Okay, welcome back. So potential benefits of a meat-focused SNAP: high quality protein and micronutrients. Fatty red meat and other animal foods have high concentrations of absorbable iron, zinc, B vitamins, and all essential amino acids. Reduced ultra-processed junk. If SNAP benefits excluded or heavily restricted sugary or high-carb junk foods, recipients simply wouldn't buy them, with SNAP funds at least. This could lower glycemic swings, reduce excess calorie consumption from processed carbs, and potentially improve metabolic markers. Okay, so it's mostly about carbohydrates there. But I mean, we could also say the same about N6 seed oils. So satiation, impossible appetite regulation, protein and fat-rich diets often produce greater satiety than carb-heavy diets. This could be a boon for individuals trying to curb overall calorie intake or lose weight. And that is so true. 9 out of 10 people have super good satiety on high-fat diets. So let's keep going. We got the potential drawbacks or the practical challenges. So I'm going to push back on this so you can pay attention. But cultural and personal preferences. Food is more than just nutrition. It's social, cultural, religious, personal. Restricting SNAP purchases to mostly meat could clash heavily with dietary preferences, e.g. vegetarians, certain religious prohibitions, and also remove autonomy in food choice. And then cost and logistics, price fluctuations, storage and cooking facilities, SNAP recipients, proper storage. Okay. No one size fits all. We got it. Public health and policy resistance. Well, yeah, this is the whole problem. Currently, the mainstream nutritional consensus and thus public policy heavily promotes fruit, vegetables, and whole grains. A major shift away from that approach would face political and institutional pushback. Right, but is that approach working? No, it's not. And RFK Jr. is like basically aware of that and saying, "Let's go on the carnivore diet." So let's keep going. So, could a meat focused SNAP improve metabolic health for individuals struggling with metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, or obesity? A low carb approach often shows strong results. Yep. Um, For a reform SNAP program effectively channel recipients into a low carb or carnivore diet, there's a good chance that at least part of the beneficiary population would see better metabolic outcomes. However, rolling out a program at that scale invites questions of equity, choice, and feasibility. Some folks don't want a diet like that. They'd be concerned about unintended consequences like nutrient gaps if not done properly. Yep, it's definitely true. It would make animal fat really valuable. Might have a lot of protein or starvation, rabbit starvation people. It's a bold idea. In practice, you might see something like a pilot or supplemental program offering additional benefits or high quality meats. Yeah, though usually they favor produce. There's some place local in Utah that does this, like promotes like local produce to like poor people. I'm like, how's that gonna help them? Really? Okay. So these potential drawbacks seem lame, is what I said. People don't have a cultural tradition to be poor. Maybe we should just give them millions so they aren't. And I'm saying that as a liberal, just as a way to make the joke, I guess, or the analogy. Yes, meat costs more in some ways, but think about all the layers of processing that plants go through to get to various grocery stores. All those have costs, including environmental. Manual laborers used on the high fat pemmican diets in the north, basically saying, you don't need like carbs for energy. But I guess people just need the freedom to get sick and waste their taxpayer money. That's America. All right. So they understand my objections, a different philosophy on cost. Yep. The short term cost at the register and doesn't factor in the healthcare costs down the line, the productivity and quality of life losses, and the environmental toll of massive monocrops, extensive processing, packaging, and so on. Yeah, I mean, if you broaden your concept of cost to include these downstream effects, certain animal based foods might well come out ahead. The real bargain can be nutrient density, satiety, and reduced disease risk. So, like you said, part of living in a free society is that people can and do make choices that might be harmful in the long run, including dietary ones. If the government's role is in part to mitigate large scale health crises and the associated taxpayer burden, then restricting or guiding SNAP purchases toward truly nutrient dense foods may be a path to consider. Oh, I lost my place. All right. So, anyway, a more meat focused SNAP is arguably quite sensible. Hmm. We also have the Inuit and other Arctic populations. Certain 19th century explorers or frontiersmen or mountain men in North America sustaining themselves on buffalo and other wild game as pemmican. Yep. And then, not to mention my own very massive database of carnivorous historical accounts at meatrition.com. Yes, exactly. Historical accounts are more plentiful than many people realize, and your Meatrition database is an example of collecting first-hand and second-hand records that demonstrate how certain human populations and individuals have thrived on diets dominated by meat. These anecdotes can offer a different perspective than the standard grain and vegetable-based narrative. It's a reminder that throughout history, many cultures lived on carnivorous or near carnivorous diets, often in harsh environments without modern conveniences or medical care, yet they sustained good health and high physical performance. That kind of evidence definitely challenges the conventional view that humans must eat a diverse array of carbohydrates and produce to meet all their nutritional needs. So, boom! I beat the AI here. I more or less convinced it that we can make Snap into like a meat based, low carb only sort of product choice. And although yes, there are some drawbacks to it, it could actually be really useful in the long run. Um, Obviously, not having soda and packaged food would be great. All right, so I want to show you some shirts in my Etsy store now. Share this tab instead. Data is on our side, so it's not hard to beat AI in this. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you know like all the arguments and then you ask AI, it will be like, "Oh, I can't really lie to you," and it will like give you exactly some cool stuff. So here's my Etsy store. I recently made it. I saw some online videos saying like you can make a lot of money, and I've I have like probably 10 carnivore shirts in my collection. And, I was like, yeah, I've always kind of wanted better designs or something and or have more unique versions. So I've been starting to make my own products here. Here's my own son in a carnivore diet T Rex hoodie. Um, yeah, what's some price findings? Yeah, I have Weston Price's book. I was thinking of joining in my local chapter. I just got another notification of some event they held, and I'm like, man, I should go rate that, like, talk to them or work for them or something. Um, but yeah, here's my. Oh, let me copy this. Uh, all right, there's my Meatrition Etsy store. So let me show you the rest of the products here. So this is. Oh wait. This is like so. Hold on. You got Weston Price's book recently? Okay. Uh, Here's my store. Um, yeah. I can't find my book. Huh. Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. Amazing book. Big pictures, maps. Cool. I did lots of underlining stuff. You get fun jaw lines and great teeth. Um, excellent book. And honestly, I need to put a lot of that data in like in my database somehow. Like into my ethnography. I guess I did make sections for them. Then never put like the pictures and stuff. Yeah. Also, if you guys like books, I have a database 237. Not really all the books I have physically, but I guess we can go to that next. But yeah, I just want to show you some of my shirts I made. It's been fun to do these. So this is my son. Uh, this is like a nice, like kind of not too thick hoodie, so it's good for spring. And it's also on the front of it, so cool design. This is just pasted on this model. I don't know how it works. Um, and here's that same design. Actually, I'll show this. Um, so this is my T-Rex design on like a t-shirt. These are nice like felt shirts. So yeah, I guess I won't click into everyone, but stop eating seed oils. And then there's a design on the back. Here's a meat-based nutrition shirt. I actually have this one in the back. All right. Style Banner says they look nice. I'll check out the website. Here's this one, stop eating seed oils. And it's got these like 4 colors. And I also have another version of that shirt. Yeah, here's a different type of t-shirt. This is like a jersey, I think. A little more expensive. And then I just made this. I literally put my kid into AI. I said, like, maybe an anime version of him roaring in like the dinosaur Jurassic Park world. So anytime I show him the screen, like over the past 2 days, he goes roar roar. So he loves it. I might have to get it. I kind of hope it gets popular. Here, actually, oh, I'm sorry. I've been talking about all these things. You know what? I should just share this whole tab. Let me do that. Let me change that. Replace screen sharing. Window. All right, boom. So yeah, here's nutrition. So now I can quickly show you these. This has a design in the back, I think. Oh yeah, here. It has like this cascading corn oil. These are the Hateful Eight. Finally decided to like list them in descending larger. All right, Salvador, gotta go. I have to pick up the kids, bro. Thanks for the chat. See you later, dude. Bye bye. Thanks for hopping by and keeping me company. Um, and then this is the shirt I have on right now. And you can see all the funny puns I made in this. And it looks really good. Like you can clearly see it like anywhere on the shirt. So nutrient dense, animal based, healthy saturated fat for energy, essential omega-3, ALA, EPA, DHA, over 100 milligrams of animal cholesterol. Like, let's brag about it. We do a high animal cholesterol diet, whatever. Low source of toxic linoleic acid. 2 million years of happy customers, not vegan, zero carb, butter, beef, plants optional. Lamb, salmon, cheese. Warning may reverse chronic diseases. Part of a ketogenic carnivore diet. Sustainably raised, delicious, high omega balance. Meat-based nutrition. So nutrition facts, serving size, eat meat when hungry, 2 servings per day of high-fat meat. Calories is the point of eating. Like, yeah, isn't that true? Like, we always try and eat low-calorie things, and then we're like, why are we eating? So I have some other versions of this shirt with like a different top text, and then this has like my first iteration of some of these things. This almost might be too small to see. I'm not sure, but it's like a high quality print, so it should work. complete source of 9 essential amino acids, not produced in a factory of toxic seed oils, not soy, nor processed beyond all recognition, packed with vitamin B12, creatine, carnosine, choline, cholecalciferol, which is vitamin D. Original percent daily values are based on a grain, sugar, and seed oil based diet and are not reflective of the evolutionary appropriate high fat animal based diet. And then you see some of the same taglines. So, and here's a new mug I just made, which is super fun. I think I'm going to get this myself too. It has this cool red inside. And I've been making like memes like this for a while, like the mega. Oh, what the heck? I just noticed my screen isn't sharing. Okay. Here's my mug I was talking about. So this is like megafauna and hunters, meat-based nutrition, and they're all looking out at like all these animals. This kind of meant to remind you that back in the past there were many more huge animals, and like wasn't like you were always scrapping for like random carcasses from lions, like you were actually like doing the hunting. So, uh, nice little mug we have here for those who love their coffee. Not gonna point any fingers. Here's a new one I just made yesterday. Ochre cave painting design. That's pretty cool. So I asked for like 4 different types of hunters and then like the main prey they hunt. And it looks great. So that should pop out nice. Oh, I made this hat too. So I made a stop eating seed oils hat. And for all these colorful designs, I use like a neon that like I guess doesn't show up in these new caps. So I had to take a screenshot of the editing version and it might look like this, I guess. Um, but I'm interested to see how these hats come out. And they kind of are meant to made like look like MAGA hats, but aren't. You can also kind of be different too. Um, and then I wanted to show this shirt. This might be the coolest one. And I'm probably gonna make more versions, kind of like this. So this is a real quote from 1797 from my database. No medicine was of any permanent advantage without the aid of animal food. This is more powerful than any medicine, and very probably this alone, properly managed, may be found sufficient for the cure in many cases. Whether the cure in our 2 patients be complete or not is a question which I shall not labor to decide by argument. For my own part, I think they are cured, though they may never perhaps be strong as they were, and both may probably relapse because, being poor, they are exposed to the double risk of severe labor and improper food. So this was by Dr. Cleghorn in Glasgow, May 19th, 1797, from a case series published by Dr. John Rollo on the carnivore diet treatment for diabetes, which if you just look up Rollo on my database, you'll like find tons of posts. Um, or you can look up Cleghorn to find this. And it's also in the description here. So no medicine was of any permanent advantage without the aid of animal food, 1797 Meatrition. So that's the back of the shirt. So it should be in like a fun shirt to wear around outside. And people are like, what the heck does that mean? And be like, oh yeah, like that carnivore diet fad everyone talks about. No, it's actually 220 years old. Wow. Okay. And there's lots of other fun quotes I can do, or like 20 others, like from this time period alone. So my, if my store starts picking up steam, I might make more of those. We'll see. and also give me your ideas to trying to meet everyone's ideas and be creative and stuff. This Meatrition kid shirt is also on a toddler tee, so if you want to get that for your kid. And then, yeah, here's one of those concepts on a shirt. Here's another Stop Eating Seed Oil shirt. I think we have one sale on this. Here's one I probably should remove, but plant-based diet for the planet. Just kind of mock like the plant aspect. Like, that we're not just eating plants; we have to process them in a plant, an industrial plant. Kind of like an anti-vegan type of shirt. And yeah, I think that's enough. Etsy. In case you missed it or you just got here, not that anyone else is in the chat that I can see. RFK Jr. says I'm putting West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey on a carnivore diet. I can add this. Chat. I think that's enough for me today. About an hour and a half. Yeah, about an hour. Let me see what else. What other things I can show you guys. I was wondering about a design like this for H&E, which is like one of the bad players in seed oils. Let me hide this. And yeah, I think that's all I have. Oh, I am working on a video project. I grinded prime brisket burgers. So I'm working on that right now. Almost done with the editing. Maybe even put it out today or tomorrow. And they're like high fat prime brisket burgers that I grinded myself and then cooked up for the whole week. And they were so delicious. So I just have to recommend them to everyone. And yeah, maybe I'll keep editing that today. And then I'm also helping write a review. Let's see, where's my tab here? Sharing. Yeah, I'm going to review this science paper that's on the carnivore diet. So I already did a video on this, but it's still not peer reviewed. So I'm going to go through it, fine tooth comb, and find any issues with it. And then there's like this peer review questionnaire. I guess I can show it. Let's see. So what is your assessment of the presentation of the study objectives? Are the study methods reported in sufficient detail to allow for their replicability or reproducibility? Why or why not? That's probably easy yes. Assess the strengths and limitations of the study, theory, methods, argument. Okay. So I might add like a hypothesis and maybe add a few paragraphs on the background. And how are the interpretation of results and study conclusions supported by the data and study design? Right. Okay. And does the article have flaws which should prohibit its publication? Is the medical science and any associated conclusions contained within its article credible and potentially valuable? And then this goes to the journal editors only. Okay. Cool. So I gotta do that today. And I'm gonna end the live now. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Stay tuned for that brisket video. And I'm also going to start publishing a lot of my old carnivore videos that I have like in my iCloud that I just never published. And should be some good old topics I can redo and look at. And thanks again, and we'll see you later. Bye bye. Meatrition out.